Hello everyone and welcome to a Q&A that came pretty quick. I'm excited about that.
It's all your own doing.
Well, thank you. I'm touched. Recently, yes, we released a lot of videos. I was like, hey guys, here's a bunch of videos. Then here's a bunch of videos. And then all of a sudden I was like, and there's just, they piled up and they were everywhere. So yeah, I hope you guys have been enjoying the vlog. September is out, and because we're moving into October, you're getting October's Q&A. And we just did September's Q&A like a week ago, so yeah.
Yeah, you did good.
Thank you. I'm excited, and we're going to do our best to catch up. So we've got some questions from you guys, including several questions that were actually asked last month, and I was like, hey, ask them again.
And people did.
And people did, so we're going to answer some of those. Spiffleh asks, what does it mean to prepare a Let's Play? In the question, Spiffleh asks, like, you know, I understand that, you know, in Pokemon, for instance, you had all those drawings to do, but what does preparing an LP exactly entail? You know, are there practice runs? Are there art assets? What is it specifically that you have to prepare? What? Or are you nay-naying?
No.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, when it came to Tulip, I had to make our whole guide. And in hindsight, I should have played through it first, but I didn't.
Yeah, anyone who's watched Tulip will know that there are a few things that would have went a little bit more smoothly if Mal had played through the game first.
We did pretty good.
But we did pretty good. The preparation does change, like that word changes depending on the project. For some things, there is little preparation.
Like Fallout.
Like Fallout, just in the sense that Fallout is completely blind. Fallout actually, there's a pretty good amount of preparation every episode for that, because every single episode I really pour over the comments. In fact, I even write out a little sheet here. So like, this is for episode 13, you know, shoot the searchlights, cake pans equal aluminum, kill the monkeys, mark components, get the bobblehead, consider scrapper, zoom into the Pip-Boy, robotics disposal ground northeast of Sanctuary has the Fat Man. There is a helmet south of Sanctuary. You should build a community sleeping quarters and recruit settlers. So like, I did this for Skyrim, and that's coming back. So that's something I do now for Fallout. So there's that kind of preparation. Obviously in Pokemon you had a ridiculous amount of preparation, or well, it should have been preparation, and we got screwed because of that. But a lot of people want to know it in relation to Eco, because they're like, you know, why is Eco not out yet? And I've talked a little bit about it before, but Eco is not out yet because I'm still preparing. I've never prepared. That's never been the issue. It's just that the way that I want to present Eco, there's a few things that I want to do that's a little different, and because of that, the amount of preparation necessary is it's pretty big. It's a lot of preparation, so I haven't started it. It's not that, you know, Steven's been working on Eco for years. No, Steven's not started working on Eco. Steven just knows how much effort it's going to take, so Steven is
taking his time to start.
Yeah, because there's so much other stuff to do. It's like, you know, you can't jump into a project like Eco when the vlogs are super behind. You can't jump into a project like Eco when you're working on certain other projects too. In the case of Donkey Kong Country, you know, we would play the game. You know, we'd play through levels and do little practice runs before we jumped into it. But no matter what we're doing, art assets are always a huge thing. Just making sure that we have the thumbnails done, the anything that's going to go in the end slate done, and I've simplified that the best I could recently, like in the last few years, to make that really streamlined, so it's gotten better. But in the past, that was a bit of a pain. Anyway, hopefully that answers that question. Next question is from Saya44. When you haven't seen a friend in a long time, such as Nick, is it awkward when you start talking to them again? It depends.
Yeah.
It depends on the friend. In the case of Nick, no, not at all. I mean, we had also chatted with him online a bit, but I think even if we hadn't, Nick is the type of person and the type of friend that it would have felt like nothing has changed. You have those certain friends.
Yeah.
And you would agree, right?
Yeah.
Like there's some people that, like there's some people I knew from high school that, you know, if I saw them again, it would probably be, I don't know, a little awkward, because I'd be like, so what's new? Oh, that's cool, you know, you're married and you have 3 kids. Neat. So, you know, it would be that kind of thing. But with some of these people, I mean, like, you know, Nick or Dan or any of my really close friends, like, it doesn't matter how long it's been since I've seen them. I just pick up right where we left off.
There's an in-between too.
An in-between?
Yeah, there's some people I think that when I haven't seen them in a while, like, it takes like a hour maybe, and then you realize like they haven't changed and things are fine again and not awkward.
I would agree with that. And I think sometimes it's one-sided too. I think sometimes you meet back up with someone and they like approach it like, you know, oh man, we're really great friends or whatever, and you're thinking, let's see, you know, why do I know you or something? Like, okay, we went to high school together and you really liked this thing, you know, but they may have certain memories of you that are very specific that were very positive or something like that, so that might be why. Dane1647 said, you've had Patreon for a year now. How has it helped? It has been life-changing, to be honest. I think Patreon has been a life-changing experience. We use the funds primarily for college debt, and our patrons know that. That's kind of our big thing, but it's also allowed us to do things this year that we haven't done before. For instance, we've upgraded so much equipment. Like, we got new mics this year. We finally moved from those headsets to actually like full-fledged microphones, which involved getting, you know, audio interface, things like that. It's a lot easier to justify replacing any kind of computer stuff that comes along, because you're just like, all right, we're just gonna, we can replace this. It's not a problem. So it makes that sort of spending less of a thought issue. It's not like we have to decide what we're gonna do. It's like, we can replace this, we can get a new thing. But we've bought a lot of new equipment. In addition to the microphones, we also got, I know we have the camera, which I'm gonna say in a minute, but wasn't there something else major that we got?
The lights?
No, there was something before that. Crap, now I don't remember. And I feel
Framemeister.
That's it. Yeah, like the Framemeister. So the Framemeister was another big thing that was easier to justify because of Patreon. Because of that extra income coming in, it's like, yeah, we can do this. And then because of that, Extra Life looked really freaking good because we were able to play the games natively on the carts and have them be really big. Most recently, we bought a camera, and you guys are going to be learning about that really soon, because this is the last video on StephenVlog/StephenPlays that will be shot with our Canon T2i. We got another new camera. It is, I don't know, should I reveal what it is, or should I keep the secret?
Keep it a secret. Keep
it a secret until next time. We got another new camera that's going to be replacing this one, and so the next thing you'll get is October
mail.
2015 mail. That was shot on the Canon T2i. Sorry about that. But then the next Q&A, the November Q&A, will actually be shot on a completely different camera. Same mic, but a completely different camera, and we're really excited about it.
Are we going to use?
Yes, and we also have lights. We have lights, so things have changed a lot. But like all
umbrellas is the word I wanted.
Yeah, but all of that stuff has become a reality because of Patreon. That extra income allows us, yeah, we're paying college debt, but we also have the extra income to actually upgrade stuff and be like, hey, we have better mics now. We have a Framemeister. We can play retro stuff upscaled perfectly. We have a brand new camera that can do stuff like that. So all of those purchases are a lot easier to justify because of Patreon. In Dane's question, they also asked if we would ever consider hiring a full-time editor, I guess based on that. And I feel pretty confident, even though it doesn't always seem like it, that we don't need one. And I know that we're behind on vlogs, and even having a part-time editor would be helpful, but ultimately, in the long thing, the grand scheme of things, we don't need an extra editor. I can handle it. It's just a lot happened this year. There was a lot of trips and things like that that piled up and made it very difficult to catch up on vlogs. But as I showed the other day when I released like 30 videos, it's like, I can do it. It's just, it's a process.
And it's a lot easier when I'm not working.
Yeah.
Like in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it as well. And some of the workload has been distributed. Like, for example, I've said before, but Dan does memorable moments. Dan gets, I ship Dan a drive that has all of the episodes on it and all of the moments that you guys suggest. By the way, make sure that you always say, if something's funny, that you write down a memorable moment as a comment, because that list gets sent to Dan. So if there's no memorable moments listed, they don't exist. But Dan gets all of that, and he's the one that takes care of that. And I mean, we've, distributed that amount of work, and in the future we might do more. I mean, maybe Dan will take on more work or something, but as far as like another editor taking care of our stuff, I don't think it's necessary. And also, I want to be in charge of that, Like, I think if someone else was editing, like StephenVlog or something, it wouldn't be the same experience as if I was editing it. They probably wouldn't put falling meatloaf in the background, things like that, so... I gotta edit it, that's why. cruzdbluz asked a question, very specific. On day 1198, called You're Important, what happened at Barbecue House that left you and Thomas so speechless? Do you remember this story?
I do. I couldn't tell it, but I remember it.
So, if you haven't seen day 1198, go back and watch it. I haven't watched it in a while, so I don't remember what the context is exactly, but what happened was... From my recollection, is that day I think Thomas was dressed pretty nicely, because I think Thomas is just always dressed nicely. We went to a place that we had never went to before called Barbecue House, and I think what happened is that the server asked Thomas why he was dressed so nicely, and I think Thomas ran with it and said that he was a movie director or something. It was like...
No, didn't he say you were, but he was just like...
No. I think he said that he was like a movie director or movie writer or something, and then I was an editor. But it all stemmed like from a quick thing that the lady had said, like, oh, you look so nice. Why are you so dressed up? And I think Thomas just immediately went with it and was like, I'm actually, a movie writer, and this is a movie editor. And I don't know what had just come out. I think it was a Transformers film or something.
Yeah, that was it.
And he was like, that Transformers film that just came out? And she was like, yeah. And he goes... I wrote that. He edited it. And she was, like, super impressed. And I'm just, like, Thomas, like, just did this out of the, like, it just happened. It wasn't like...
He knew she was going to ask her.
Yeah, it was so crazy. And it caught me off guard, because I've never seen Thomas do that sort of thing. But he was just in a really goofy mood, and he wanted to do that. And the lady was like, oh, wow. And I'm looking at him like, what? Crap, now I have to talk my way out of this, too. And I just kind of, like, smiled. I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, I thought you had to be, like, in LA or whatever. And goes, nope, everything's remote now. Internet. Because you know how Thomas sometimes, like, internet. So, like, you say all this stuff, and I'm just like, oh, my God. So then she was real impressed, and,
You guys were, like, the only ones there. And
I think we were, like,
in the back, like...
Yeah, talking and stuff. It was... And then we left. I was like, Thomas, what are you doing? He was like, I don't know, I just want to have fun. So, yeah, that is what happened so many days ago. I think like 1,000 days ago now. So,
wow.
That's a long time ago. Let's move on. Next question is from Jonathan Peel. Mal, what is your skill level with French pastry, and what have you made from scratch?
Nothing.
So your skill is nothing.
I mean, I've worked with puff pastry, like frozen puff pastry. Mm-hmm. You know that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how you made those...
The little... Yeah.
International sign language for puff pastry thing.
Folding turnover.
Yeah, it's apple turnover.
I did make eclairs once in high school, but I don't remember how I did it, or how authentic at all. Probably none. They were.
Okay, that's fair.
I've always wanted to do creme brulee, and I'm pretty sure I could pull that off, too.
Didn't you guys make it once?
Stephanie did.
Steph made it.
But I don't have a torch.
A blowtorch?
A little kitchen torch, so... I mean, I know I could do it, I just haven't.
And also, it's really hard to justify the purchase of one of those kitchen torches, because you only use it... It's a unitasker. Yeah, you use it for creme brulee, and that's it. And then you have this torch in your house, and you're like...
It can start on fire.
Yeah, it's kind of dangerous, so... We've talked about this before, because we've talked about you making creme brulee, and we decided that anytime we wanted it...
We would just go out and get it.
We just go get it, because we don't want it often enough to...
Creme brulee isn't a pastry.
It's true, we're getting off.
Kind of a tart custard.
But hopefully that answers Jonathan's question. It's just you have some ways to go there. You're very good at cooking.
Yeah, if people give me directions, and I... Like, for a technique I may not know really well, I'll go watch a video.
Mm-hmm. You pick things up really well and really quickly, so... I
know not to add cream when it says cream. I know that means to blend the sugar in the butter, not pour cream in it.
You know not to butter the toast.
And then stick it in the toaster.
Yeah, butter the bread before you toast it.
And I know not to microwave metal.
Mal.
Yeah.
Mal, I was tired. I know not to microwave metal. but I was tired. Wasn't thinking straight. I had just woken up less than 1 minute before. This vlog isn't where this happened. It hasn't even come out yet. But anyone that was watching Twitter the other day will know. Anyway, I'm moving on. Cypherful says, what are your experiences with contact lenses? Any problems with contact lenses too?
I've had contacts since 7th grade.
Yeah, for the record, we both wear contacts. We both have pretty piss poor eyes. Mine are slightly pissier.
No, yours are definitely like twice as bad.
A lot pissier. Yeah.
When did you get glasses, contacts?
I got glasses when I was in 2nd grade, but I needed them in 1st grade. I remember it's really weird because especially when you're young and you don't really know any better, your eyesight is deteriorating gradually. So you don't really understand that things can be sharper. You're just like, oh, well, that's far away. That's why I can't see it. And then when you finally go in for like your first eye exam or whatever, and you can see across the room, you're like, oh my God, I can see. And then you walk out that day with glasses. It's amazing. But yeah, I think I was in 2nd grade when I got them.
My 6th grade science teacher, homeroom teacher, because I had him for both, noticed I was squinting to look at the board. Sent me to the nurse, had an eye exam. Called my parents and said I needed glasses, and I got them. And yeah, when I walked out with my glasses for the first time, I was like, trees have twigs on them. Like, I felt like I had supervision. It was
And that was
such
6th grade. So you had it 4 years after I did. Now, when did you get contacts?
A year later. I hated glasses.
No, see,
hated them.
I got glasses when I was in 2nd grade, and I actually had glasses until I was 14. I think I was 14 or 15, and I just had a lot of friends that wore contacts, and I was like, you know what, I think I could wear contacts too, so I did. I have nothing against wearing glasses, though. It's just I prefer wearing contacts.
See, they give me headaches, and
what glasses do?
They always push in too hard.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I would prefer wearing contacts for reasons similar to that. I mean, when you're wearing glasses, they can like fall off your head. You could never really wear them with sports unless you either had contacts or you had like those special prescription goggles, you know? So...
Did you ever have problems with your contacts?
No, not really.
Have you always had soft lenses?
I've always had soft lenses.
Me too.
And I've always worn them way, way, way longer than they ask you to.
I had yearlies that lasted a year.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Were they terrible?
No, they were pretty good.
Oh, okay.
They were thicker than the ones that I use now, because mine now are monthly. And I didn't get them until I met you. I had like year-long ones until then. I lost one once, and when you lose a yearly contact, they're more expensive.
I can imagine.
And for a while, I actually had I had blue ones, like color eye-changing ones, and so my eyes were like crazy blue. And then I got green ones one year, and my eyes were green.
I've always had the bi-monthly, where you know you're supposed to change them every 2 weeks, and I've always worn 2-week contacts for 3 months ish, and it's really great because I recently bought I think a 6-month supply of contacts.
They've lasted you like year and a half.
Yeah, a 6-month supply, assuming you change them every 2 weeks, but I change them every 12 weeks, lasts 6 times longer, so it's actually a 3-year supply. Math. Oh, and I always take them out at night. I never sleep with contacts. I just figured that was worth mentioning.
I mean, sometimes I'll fall asleep and nap, but otherwise.
Yeah, I had friends who they put their contacts in and then they never took their contacts out for months, and it was gross. And I had slept in mine once or twice, and the feeling you get when you wake up, your eyes, ugh. Nope.
I had day and night ones. Do you remember them? They were like day and night contacts, and you could wear them for a month straight and not take them out.
Nope, don't remember that.
I had them for like a year.
Were they okay?
Yeah, they were okay. I don't like that though.
Yeah, I want to take the stuff out, man. I want my eyes to like breathe. AntiHeroSora says, did you take any graphic design classes? And do you think graphic design skills help with video production? And I actually reworded the question to include you, to ask if you took any graphic design classes. So have you?
That was my minor.
That was her minor. That was Mal's minor was actually graphic design. So you've taken, what exactly specifically did you take?
I had some sort of like intro to design, how to do program stuff that was like stuff I knew. And then I took graphic design 1 and 2.
So you had the basics.
Yeah.
And was it, well, that was your minor.
I wish I would have taken a typography class, but I didn't have enough space.
Well, by taking graphic design 1 and 2, you had more graphic design than I ever had. I've actually never taken any graphic design classes. In SCAD, obviously SCAD's an art school, and because of that, and all the classes are art-based, all the majors are art-based, there you can get very specific, like super specific. If you want to take something very specific, they have it. But I never took any of the same classes that like a graphic design student would take. I did take computer art. Computer art was required, I think, of everyone, regardless of why you were there, whether you were studying, you know, film or illustration or equestrian studies. You had to take computer art, and there was 2 levels of it, and you could take either one. And when Alex and I took the class, we took it together, and we took the higher level one, which covered Photoshop, Illustrator, Maya, After Effects, and Dreamweaver. And it was mostly just technical stuff. I actually, later on, when I was a senior and I had a free elective and wanted to have a very easy quarter, I took the lower level because I'm a terrible person, and that covered similar things, but it was a lot easier. But I never had any formal graphic design training. Most of my experience with graphic design has come from being in an art environment, just being at SCAD, surrounding yourself with art and design and people who are good at it, and people who are not only good at it, but always building off of each other. Like when you surround yourself with those type of people in that environment, you get better, and you start understanding what works and what doesn't. So I never had a formal class of graphic design, but being around those people and around graphic design students or people who are working on graphic design projects helped immensely. In addition, one of my good friends was also John Kay, and John Kay is now the head designer for Fangamer.
I think that's his title.
I think it's his title. He's always been a big design guy, and whenever I was in high school, and especially moving into college, I stayed in contact with him, and anytime I had a design question or something like that, I would talk to him on Instant Messenger and be like, you know, what would you do here? What would you do here? And kind of studied what he done and or what he did and why he made the suggestions he made for my stuff. And I think that helped me a lot. And that's kind of my background with graphic design. I've never really had a class in it or anything.
To be fair, my professors were like a lot older and didn't know how to do things on the computer, but wanted them on the computer and had done them the old-fashioned way 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they had good design sense, and
yes,
but they didn't know how to do anything on the computer. Design
is weird because some of it, sure, can be innate, but I would say for design, almost all of it is probably learned. And it changes too. That's the thing. Like graphic design changes. Mm-hmm. There's some design principles that should always be observed, but for the most part, like it's changing. Someone who has an amazing design sense, who's a very close personal friend of mine, is Dan. Dan has it. Dan gets it, and some of that came from college for sure. But Dan excelled even further whenever he worked for several years with a advertising firm. Or whatever, with advertising firm, something, whatever. And he was around those people that did that in an industry setting for so many years. And I just saw him explode in terms of his knowledge with stuff, because he has a really good eye for that sort of thing. He's an extremely good eye for typography. And anytime I have a design question nowadays...
you send it to Dan, and Dan's like, well, what about this? And you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
That is perfect.
For the most part, I think that Mal and I combined get a lot of things done, but our first third party that we always bring in for stuff is definitely Dan. If we're working on something and we feel like it's almost there, but it's not quite, I'm like, I'm going to run this by Dan. And Dan knows what he's doing. Dan's really, really good at it. So, long question and long answer, and I apologize for that. As far as how it helps with video production, it absolutely does. Being able to do more is just a good thing. If you go into the industry, they want people that can cover a lot of stuff. And if you can do the design elements, the graphical elements of video production, then yeah, you're a better hire than someone who can't, because I mean, even on YouTube there's a lot of people that need to outsource their graphic stuff. So if you have the knowledge and the know-how and the design prowess to actually take care of that yourself, you're doing really, really well. So if you can get those graphic design skills, you should. Also, I feel like everyone should know Photoshop. Everyone. Like, there are very few people on earth that I feel like shouldn't know Photoshop. I just feel like you should. There's so many times it comes in handy.
Yeah. I'm teaching it.
I mean, like, for anything. For anything. There's so many, even, like, sorry, I'm not going to ramble on, but
if you can't afford it, Pixlr is a okay alternative.
Pixlr?
Pixlr.
Pixlr and,
Pixlr has an online, and it looks
GIMP?
like Photoshop.
GIMP?
See, I have problems with GIMP. I can't figure it out.
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, photo editing software, people should know basics, know quickly how to do stuff. Because,
understand layers.
Yeah, people want to, like, print their photos or whatever. People should know to, like, I can do this, I can take care of this, I can get it printed at Walmart or, you know, whatever it is they need to do. Learn photo editing software. Next question is from HolyGrayle. See? It's a Grail.
Oh.
Mao, how do you grade art assignments?
That's a good question.
Since we're talking about art.
I have like a standard rubric, and it's like, did you do this? Did you do this? But most of the time I ask my students, like, hey, right now we're doing watercolor cards, like greeting cards, and they have to have 2 that fit a theme, so they should have a theme. Mm-hmm. Like, did they do this? I taught them watercolor techniques, like wet and wet, graded wash, flat wash. I taught them, like, the cliche salt and masking and stuff like that. And I said, in your cards I want to see at least 3 techniques. So what 3 did you use? And then I have them write a reflection, take pictures in progress, have a final picture of, like, the final done. And then, like, do you have all those things? Great. Did you work hard? Great. A.
Okay, so a lot of times, like, especially in college, your project is graded. I mean, in art, it's very subjective. And sometimes the professor bases it that way. I mean, it's just whatever they think. But it's a checklist. It's like, did you do the things I asked you to do?
Because it's important that you know them and know how to use them.
And did you try?
Yeah, that's the most important thing for me.
And that's it. Did you put forth effort?
Mm-hmm. I mean, my classes, I get a complete variety of students. I have everyone across the board. Mm-hmm. No matter where they are in their high schooling. They could be freshmen, they could be seniors. They may not speak English very well. They may have some sort of disability, physical, mental. They could be anyone. Mm-hmm. So I can't say, well, it looks good, you get an A. Yours doesn't look good, you get you fail.
Yeah.
Because, like, the person that maybe doesn't look good, maybe that was the best thing they've ever done and they tried so hard.
Yeah.
Like,
and you only get a chance to know that after you've seen the student work for a while. Yeah. and get to know that person a little bit. And I mean,
you get a sense of that as they're working, like, day to day.
Yeah. So depending on the student, things have to be scaled a little bit.
They do.
It's not that there's a particular look for something and this is 100. It's based on that student. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's good. That's good. You're a good teacher. Next question is from velvetchrome. What are your reasons for adding the intro to your Let's Plays? Because I don't know how long ago, was it several months ago? A year ago? We started adding a title card to the Let's Plays. It says Stephen Plays and then comes up and says a little thing. Really just branding. Just reinforcing branding because we don't have that on Stephen Plays. If you think about it, on StephenVlog, since pretty early on, all the episodes start with you guys seeing the StephenVlog logo. It shows up in the bottom left corner. It's like, what's that? And then it goes away. So you always have a subliminal logo thing to remind you of the channel that you're watching. You don't really get that on Stephen Plays. And the color scheme too, like the green color scheme is kind of lost on the videos themselves. So we decided that a very minimalistic, quick Stephen Plays thing would be good. And it would also be nice because it would show you right at the beginning without having to look at the title or anything, like what episode you're on.
You about hit me in the face.
You're good. But that's really the extent of it. And we would we would never do any kind of crazy elaborate intro thing. In fact, when that intro comes in, the actual audio from the video is playing. It's not even a special like doop-a-doop-a-doop-boo, and then the video starts. You're hearing the audio from the thing, so like you're not missing anything really. And that's the way I want it to be. That would be the intro music, by the way. A-doop-a-doop-a-doop-bee, Stay Blaze.
Isn't that Josh's?
What? No. No, his is
bum 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 bum.
that's his.
No, Josh is gonna use that.
Josh, if you don't extract that, I'm going to make sure there's no music playing during that. If you don't extract that and use that for a video, I'm very offended. Everyone on Twitter, make sure he uses that for some video. All right, and the final question is from Eric 10375. Would you ever get a third cat?
Yes. Little Newton?
Newton.
Sir Isaac Newton?
We have actually had the discussion that if we ever did get a third cat, it would probably be called Newton, just because it's a cute name for a cat.
Hi, Sagan.
Kind of fits into our theme a little bit. Hi, buddy. Speaking of kitties, speaking of kitty cats, speaking of Sagan. But
what color kitty would you want?
no.
We don't have an orange one.
There's a lot of colors we don't have.
I mean, we have brown and Kepi's black and white.
We probably will not get another cat. Personally, I would not. I'm not interested in owning a third cat. I'm not. Because, to be honest, where does it end? Where does it end? You get Newton, then you're like, let's get Tyson. So you get Tyson, then you get...
Tycho?
Yeah, then you get Tycho.
Tycho and Tyson, they'd be twins.
Yeah, it seems very unlikely to me at this point in time that we would get another cat. We certainly can't get another one here because it's just not enough room. 2 cats are enough. Even if we owned a home that was, bigger, double the size, I still don't think I would want a third cat. Having 2 has been an adventure in and of itself. And the other thing to consider is that the cats have been far more expensive than I could have ever imagined, just because
they've had
so many health issues. Like at the beginning when they had...
Kepi had that bump.
We had the lump, but what is the thing?
Ringworm.
Ringworm. They had ringworm, and they had to get that taken care of. And then Sagan, the poor guys, had his bathroom issues. So like all these different things, and I'm like, do I really want to do that again? I don't think I do. Honey. Oh, honey, what's wrong? What's wrong? Come here, Daddy. Come here. Sagan, come here. Where'd you go? Sagan, come here. Why did you come around? I was going over here and he walked around the other side. He's not very bright. That's it for this Q&A. Thank you so much for watching. Leave your questions down below and we will get to them soon. Probably not a week soon, but sooner than a month soon. I'm doing my best to catch up. This is also a longer Q&A. I think we spent some time on questions that we don't normally spend, but hopefully you guys learned something, and if you have more questions, ask them and we will get them answered. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys soon for another Q&A.